Welcome to the Control Engineering subject of 7th semester. This session we will discuss on Module 5, that is System Compensation and State Variable Characteristics of Linear System. In the session 1, we will be discussing about this module. The course outcome of this module are to understand the different types of compensators and variable characteristics of linear system. The second course outcome is to apply the state equations to study controllability and observability. Let us first discuss about the introduction. We all know what is a control system. A control system is a one which has a physical arrangement of systems which are arranged in a manner so as to serve itself or some system. Such a control system is called as good only when it has less error, good accuracy, good speed of response, good relative stability, good damping. With all these functions, it should be such that it will not cause any undue overshoots also. Apart from this, the good control system should be such that it is going to satisfy the design specifications. And these design specifications are provided in terms of precise numerical values according to which the system is to be designed. Sometimes the design specifications provided by the control system may not be serving the purpose. Such a time, it is necessary for us to alter the system by adding an external device to it. During this process, we are going to redesign or alter the existing system by adding an additional suitable device called as a compensation, or it is a compensator which is introduced in the control system. The process of introducing this compensator into a control system is called as compensation of a control system. The major function of this compensator is to alter the behavior of the system so as to give the given specification, achieve the given specifications of the control system. Depending upon where the compensator is introduced in a system, the compensations are of different types. The first one is called as series compensation, second parallel compensation, the third one is called as series parallel compensation. Now let us discuss these compensations one by one. The first one is series compensation. Consider the block diagram shown in the figure. In this figure, there is a compensator GC of S with a transfer function introduced along with the block GC of S. Here, the compensator is introduced in series with the feed forward transfer function G of S of the plant. When a compensator is introduced in series, such a system is called as series compensation or feed forward compensation. It is also known as cascade compensated system or cascade compensation sometimes. In case of series compensation, the signal flows from lower energy towards higher energy level. Due to this, the gain of the system is reduced. Since the gain is reduced, we require an additional component such as an amplifier in series compensation than the feedback compensation. Hence, the number of elements are more in case of series compensation. Now, coming to the second one, that is parallel compensation. In parallel compensations, consider the block diagrams shown in figure. Here we have two blocks with transfer function G1 of S and G2 of S. Along with these two, there is one more block that is called as a compensator GC of S, which is introduced in the feedback path. When a compensator is introduced in a feedback path, the arrangement is known as feedback compensation or parallel compensation. In this type, the signal flows from higher energy level to lower energy level and hence eliminates the need of amplifier, as well as the number of components in such a system are reduced. The third type, that is series parallel compensation. In some cases, it is necessary for us to provide both the types of compensations, that is series as well as feedback. Such a scheme wherein we introduce both a series compensation as well as parallel compensation is called as series parallel compensation. Figure shows a block diagram wherein the compensation blocks with transfer function GC1 of S and GC2 of S are introduced in forward path as well as in the feedback path. So that is a block diagram of a series parallel compensation. The next topic is about system state. What is a system? System refers to a minimum set of variables, and these variables are known as state variables, which will describe the system and its response to any given set of inputs. The next term used is state equation. The control system is expressed as a set of n-coupled first order ordinary differential equations, which are known as state equations. Let us learn a few points about these state equations. These state equations are time derivative. That means they are always a function of time. They are the time derivative, and these each variables that are called as state variables are expressed in terms of n variables, and they may be represented as x1 of t, x2 of t, so on up to xn of t. And the system inputs are represented as u1 of t, u2 of t, so on up to um of t. The general form of the equation is x1 dot is equal to f1, which is a function of x comma u comma t. Similarly, for x2 dot also, which is x2 dot is equal to f2 into bracket x comma u comma t, so on up to xn dot is equal to fn x comma u comma t. This is the general form of the equation. So here, what does x1 dot or x1 represents? So x1 dot or x2 dot so on up to xn dot can be considered as xi dot, which is equal to dxi by dt. That is, it is nothing but the differentiation of x with respect to t. And each of these is a function of x comma u comma t. And here I will be varying from 1 to n. Now let us call this as equation number 1. These general equations can be represented in the form of vector, and they are called as vector notation of equation. Here the equation is x is equals to f into x comma u comma t. This is the vector notation of the equation. Let us call this as equation number 2. Now let us learn how these equations are represented in the form of matrix. So that is matrix representation of state equations. These state equations are always represented for linear time invariant systems. The linear time invariant systems are of order n and with m inputs. Here equation 1 becomes a set of n coupled first order linear differential equations with constant coefficients. So which are the constant coefficients? So you can see in the equation 3 the first order linear differential equation with the constant coefficients. So that is x1 dot is equals to a11 x1 plus a12 x2, similarly up to b1m um. So here the coefficients are represented from x1 dot to xn dot. So all these equations make the coefficients aij and bij as constants. This equation 3 can be represented in the form of a matrix. So when equation 3 is represented in the form of a matrix, it looks as shown in equation 4. So each and every term is represented by a separate matrix. So x1 dot, x2 dot, so on up to xn is equals to a matrix consisting of a11, a12, so on up to a1n, and it has n rows and m columns, and there is another matrix that is a single column matrix, that is x1, x2, so on up to xn. Similarly for B matrix and U matrix. In general, this can be summarized in matrix form and written as x is equals to ax plus bu. X dot is equal to ax plus bu. This equation 4 is in general is known as the state space equation. Equation 4 is known as state space equation, where x dot is called as the derivative of the state vector whose size is n cross t or n by t. The size of x dot is n by t. The second matrix, that is x, is called as a state vector whose size is n by 1. The third one, that is A, is called as a system matrix whose size is n cross n. The fourth one, that is B matrix, is called as input matrix whose size is n by n. That is, the first term always represents the number of rows, the second term represents the number of columns in all the aspects. U is called input vector whose size is m rows and 1 column. Now coming to some of the multiple choice questions that we discussed on the topics. Here are few of the multiple choice questions. The first question is like this. What is the characteristics of a good control system? As discussed in our introduction part, we know that a good control system should satisfy all the features. Here are 4 options given. The first one is sensitive to parameter variation, insensitive to input commands. Third one, neither sensitive to parameter variation nor sensitive to input commands. And the fourth one is insensitive to parameter variation nor sensitive to input commands. So, if at all we want to call our control system as a good, then it should be sensitive to parameter, insensitive to parameter variation, nor sensitive to input commands. Whereas the other 3 options given are not the suitable answer. So therefore, a good control system is the one which is insensitive to parameter variation, right, or not sensitive to input commands. So the right answer is answer D. Moving to the second multiple choice question. A good control system shall have all the following features except. A good control system has all the following features except. That means you need to remove the odd one. So here are few of the characteristics like good stability, slow response, good accuracy, sufficient power handling capacity. As we know that the right answer for the given question is slow response. That means we never choose a control system which is having slow response. So therefore, except slow response, the other three options are correct. So therefore, the answer for this question is option B. Third one. Which of the following should be done to make an unstable system stable? Usually, when systems are unstable, to make the system as stable, we always see that the gain of the system should be increased. So therefore, the options given in A, that is the gain of the system should be decreased. So if the gain of the system is decreased, then the system cannot become a stable one. And the second option, the gain of the system should be increased, is the second option. The third option is the number of poles to the loop transfer function should be increased, and the fourth option is number of zeros to the loop transfer function should be increased. Here, when we see that if we want to make a system stable, then the right answer suitable will be increasing the gain of the system. So therefore, the right answer is option B. Now, moving to the fourth question. As a result of introduction of negative feedback, which of the following will not decrease? That means whenever we introduce a negative feedback, which function will not decrease? So the answers given are bandwidth, overall gain, distortion and instability. When a negative feedback system is increased, usually the bandwidth of the system will not decrease, whereas the overall gain or there is a distortion and there will be instability caused. So therefore, the right answer is option A. The last question is, the primary purpose of using feedback is. So why do we make use of a feedback in a control system? Options given are to reduce the sensitivity of the system to parameter variations, to increase the bandwidth of the system, to reduce the noise and distortion of the system, to increase the stability of the system. Usually, feedbacks are used in a control system to reduce the sensitivity of the system to parameter variations. Whereas we never make use of a feedback to increase the bandwidth or to reduce the noise and distortion or to increase the stability of the system. So therefore, the right answer for this question is answer A. Thank you.